Hello, Chris.
I
We can hear you. Want to give us a mic test here?
tested one, two. Test, testing one,
What mic
two.
are you using? Is it on your what mic or?
It's on my headphones.
Oh, it's on the headphones. Okay. Yeah, you don't sound too bad. Probably bump them up.
Oh, well, can you guys see me at all on the camera?
We
Yep, we
see
can
you
see
right
it.
now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Now talk again.
Testing one, two. Give it a test. One, two,
That's not
three.
bad. That's like mid.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, yours.
So I told a friend to search NRL on Facebook,
Yeah, it'll be on
and
the.
it
We're
was
live right
the
now.
national.
Actually.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah.
It would end up being the National Rugby League.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how are ya?
Good, good.
Yeah, Chris, we're live right
Today.
now. So if she wants to just type in Northern Road Link on YouTube,
Yeah,
you'll be able to see the
I
pre-show before
straightened
we
her.
go live.
Yeah.
Is this?
Oh, can
Hi,
you get
Jen.
me that phone number again? Hi, Tony. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Happy
Well, it's
Tuesday.
Tuesday, but
Whoa.
And this is how
you
we
give it to us?
start.
It's on the screen
I,
there.
I don't know if she can see it.
Is there a delay for me?
No, it's pretty real time.
Okay,
Thank
just
you.
I obviously hear the echo after.
Thank you for the phone number.
Okay. Is there any PowerPoints or anything, Tony?
There is. Actually,
Yeah,
everything,
Michelle would have sent it.
That's Michelle sent it. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know it's easy.
So
I think I just
Michelle is
saw
our guest and superstar, you guys.
H3 live stream presentation.
Oh, I can hear your computer over
I
there.
think this is it. That's what she sent me.
And
It's only.
Dawn.
Oh yeah, it's only a few slides, right? It's like 6 slides or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mr. Don is not here today, so y'all got me and Chris.
I'll be filling in.
Okay.
You sounded really confident.
Well, it'll be an interesting show, I think, because we got, what, 2 other people coming?
Yes.
That was pretend.
What was pretend?
Oh, I'll be filling in for Don.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a bit of a different show. The content is a little more serious than, maybe some of the other stuff where we can
Yes.
kind of, joke around and stuff like that. So,
Not this.
Yeah, the radio show is generally the lighter one.
Yeah, the lighter one, but we can't really
Yeah,
toss this stuff around
even
like
that-
we do with
Oh, okay, I hear you.
yeah.
fish, wildlife,
Well, that's on you
or
guys.
things like
That's-
that. Yeah.
That's not on us. That's on you.
Well, yeah, no, for sure. But we're just letting you know we're actually,
So it'll do
We
any
can't
We've-
throw
we've
around
spoken about
things
it.
like we did with benthic invertebrates, remember? That was
So
a
don't
fun
do
one.
any video buttons. When you're talking about extinction.
yeah. No, wah wah.
Wah, wah,
Treating-
wah, 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 wah. Yeah, it's like, oh, this fish could go extinct. Wah, wah,
I s-
wah, 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 wah.
I still feel like I'm coming in delayed.
It's real time for us.
Okay, so why do I hear like an echo in the back?
Do you have your speakers on?
Like I say something and then I hear it. Oh, maybe that's what it is, eh, bud?
Oh, maybe
I'm an
from
idiot.
Our mic. Here, I'll shut our mic down and continue talking. See if you hear it in 3, 2.
Blur?
Okay, say that again, Tony. The instructions.
We just shut our mic down. Just talk and see if you hear an echo. I'm shutting my mic down now.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All
hi.
right.
Hi,
Hello,
Chris.
test 1 2 test test. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's no echo now, Tony.
Yeah, because you're hearing our mic.
Yeah. During the show, it'll be off.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Thanks.
Guys, I'll have to send my musics later.
Well, are you picking the selection? Are you picking one of the ones that we played on the road?
No, I don't remember any of those.
Oh. Yeah, okay. The first one, remember?
No? Come on, that was 100
This
years
land
ago.
is your land.
No,
This land
Chris.
is my land.
Chris, no.
All right.
I can't remember what I was listening to. Oh, I know. Oh, no, I can't. There's a song I like. It's called Basic Being Basic, but it's explicit.
What's that? Ethic?
What? Basic Being
What
Basic.
did you say? Oh, basic being basic. Okay, sorry.
But it's explicit. Hi, Tony. I'm in the link, but not sure if I'm supposed to be here or on a Zoom call. That's from Michelle.
Did you hear that, Tony?
What's that?
Michelle doesn't know she has to be here on the Zoom call.
You gotta be here.
She's got to be here. So not the Zoom call.
Oh, Michelle? I sent the link to Michelle.
Can you guys hear him talking over there?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in the link, but not sure I'm supposed to be here on a Zoom call. Can anybody call her? Let's see if I can call her. Oh, shit.
I got her phone number. If she'll answer.
I just emailed her.
Okay. Hi, Michelle. Tony emailed you.
Yeah, just use the link.
Tony what?
That's why I sent the link.
Tony emailed you. Try that link.
Oh, I just got it. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
So I sent an email. You see that? So many old links that just don't. First caller. So Hillary, fourth caller. Michelle logged in. Michelle disconnected.
Hi. Nope. Hello?
Keep your camera on, Chris?
What's up?
Yeah, sorry.
I just turned it off. You want me to turn it off?
Yeah, just keep it on.
Or do you guys want to check me out?
Just make sure we don't lose anybody. So yeah, leave the camera on.
Move for a sec.
Okay.
Make sure of that.
The wheel.
Yes. We
I
want
should
to
get paid
check
extra
you
for this,
out.
you know? Yeah, you know what? It's voice of radio, face of TV.
Just disconnect from here.
See, that's my thing too. Got a face for radio.
A lot of people, I don't want them connecting at 5 minutes too.
We have someone else, or do we have Michelle on now?
I'm trying. Oh, hey, there she is. Freaking me out here.
You're freaking us out, Michelle.
The link that you sent that was for me, it didn't work, so I just tried fifth caller. So apologies.
Yeah, that's
I hope that didn't
no, that's
ruin the
fine.
system.
That's fine. Okay.
So when this is live stream, do you guys see me on the live stream?
Yeah, I'm doing. You have to bear with me.
Because then I'm charging extra.
Sure.
I want to give a shout out to my stepdaughter Kayla, who's watching live in the basement right now. Hey, Kayla.
Box 4, box 5.
Did Michelle make it in here?
It's only gonna be 3 today.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, we're good.
Yep, I'm here. I'm
She
here.
here.
Good.
It wasn't my fault. I'm blaming it on Tony.
Give him a...
Join the list of
Yeah, he's easy to blame.
everyone who's
Wow.
hearing me live. This is my job. I get blamed.
Yeah, he takes it well. Yeah, actually, I think he likes it.
I do appreciate how well he takes it. Yeah.
If I'm getting paid for it. If I get paid for it, I take the blame. I don't care.
Yeah. When in doubt, blame Tony.
When in doubt, blame me.
Yeah. That's how I
There you
roll
go.
with it.
3 minutes. We're good though.
All right.
Just follow her lead.
So just 3 of us?
Yeah. Can I get you guys to call slides too when you're going through? Last week I had a hard time following you guys. So like if it jumps to the next slide, just say, "Can I get the next slide, please?"
Yeah.
Thank you.
Last week. I don't think we even used slides last week.
Last week before, whatever it was, they all blur into one.
So, Andrews, can I turn my video off when the thing starts?
No.
No, keep it on.
Think of it as you're on TV.
Yeah, I know.
I'll cut back
So-
to whoever's talking or whatever. I might jump to you randomly like that. Because, well, here, I'll show you the exact shot that I'm looking at right now. This is what I'm seeing. So
Okay.
if you shut it off, you'll just be a black screen.
Alright.
So you got to stay on.
Okay,
So
I
if I
see.
cut to it, you got to be there.
Okay, I understand. I should put my trophies and stuff behind me. God, where are they? Badminton, grade 7, champion, Northern Ontario champion. I got a bunch. Participant ribbons.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do the count.
Yeah. So we got about a minute and a half till we go live.
Okay, I shall return in less than a minute.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, we're about
Just had to go
20
put
seconds
pants
out,
on.
guys. So I'm going to go quiet here in the studio. So good luck and have a good show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honeen, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jennifer Ashawasake Pereira, and I'm a Senior Indigenous Consultation Specialist with Atkins Realis. Today, we're continuing our series of live stream topics on the Northern Road Link project as it moves through the provincial environmental assessment and federal impact assessment processes. So the topics we are covering is in parallel with our project activities, and we hope these will help our reviewers and listeners better understand the project and provide feedback and input along the way. And today we have some special guests. So we have Michelle Nasir, a consultation specialist with Dillon Consulting. Welcome, Michelle. And we also have, I need a drum roll, please, for Chris McKay with Indigenous and Community Engagement. And today we're going to be talking about Aboriginal Treaty Rights and Interests, or ATRI, and that's a topic that we're looking at as part of the environmental and impact assessments being undertaken for the Northern Road Link project. So first, I am going to hand the floor to Michelle to provide us with a little bit on ATRI, or Aboriginal Treaty Rights and Interests.
Miigwech, Jen, it's nice to be on board again. I think this is our third go around, and really happy to be on board. Ani Buzu to everybody watching and everybody listening. My name is Michelle. I'm a first generation settler, originally from Pakistan, and working on the Northern Road Link project and the environmental impact assessment process for it. So a little bit. Jen already spoke to it, but because these are significant Indigenous-led initiatives, this project by Martin Falls First Nation and Webakoi First Nations, they're aiming to bring substantial economic benefits, including job creation, training opportunities, and improving access to goods and services for their communities. A major aspect of their environmental assessment is undertaking a process that follows their guiding principles, and especially when it comes to addressing Aboriginal and/or treaty rights and interests work that we're doing for the impact assessment process. I apologize in advance. We have a lot of acronyms as we go through it, so I apologize if I, instead of calling it Aboriginal and/or treaty rights and interests, end up calling it ATRI instead. That's what it refers to, and especially when sometimes I will shorten the term Northern Road Link to NRL as well. I apologize in advance for that. What we're speaking to today is going through the process of how we're undertaking the assessment on ATRI. What we're speaking to today is also discussing where we're at in the process and what we're doing with it. So I just wanted to give a little bit of brief account, and if you can put up the slides, especially slide number 2, just give an idea of like our shared understanding of what Aboriginal and/or treaty rights and interests are. So we see the landscape of inherent rights of the Indigenous communities in Northern Ontario, and there have been communities that have been identified for our environmental assessment process here in terms of consultation and engagement. And through that process, we're working with these communities on understanding their Aboriginal and/or treaty rights and interests, and putting and considering that through our environmental assessment process. So here's a little bit of a diagram on how we understand Aboriginal and treaty rights to be in the larger framework of inherent rights, and how we're working through this aspect of it. If you wanted to move on to the next slide, you could. So while the project team has provided us guidance and advice on the assessment of ATRI, our current understanding notes that Indigenous rights and in Aboriginal and treaty rights specifically can be defined as practices and customs and traditions unique to Indigenous communities. So based on that, what we're trying to develop is a shared understanding. So the goal of Webakoi and Martin Falls First Nation is to work with Indigenous communities to understand their community-specific ATRI within the project area and how these rights may be potentially impacted by the project. So to do this, it is important that we develop a shared understanding of their rights and interests asserted by each of the Indigenous communities within the project area. And through this shared understanding of rights, we will be better positioned to discuss with communities about potential impacts to their rights. And then together, based on those potential impacts, we can develop strategies to avoid, reduce, and mitigate negative impacts where they come up, and while enhancing positive effects that can support communities in exercising their rights. Next slide, please. So before we kind of jump into it, HRE is part of a larger landscape of valued components that we're working through. There's multiple valued components across the board that have been identified, but for Aboriginal and/or treaty rights and interests, there are specifically two components that have been identified. So what we say when we talk about valued components it's a term that we use in environmental assessment, and it means aspects of the land, which are water, fish, medicines, and berries. These are all that we've noted or have been identified to us as being important to Indigenous communities and could potentially be affected by the project. So for the assessment on HRE, we're looking at these two main valued components, which are Indigenous use of lands and resources, and the other one is cultural continuity and well-being. So, and we're considering these based on Anishinaabe and Indigenous knowledge that's being shared with us in setting the stage for the baseline conditions to guide our assessment process. So, for what we understand Indigenous use of land and resources to mean to refer to information that can be related to sites and areas that are used for rights-based activities and interests, including information on resources and access to these resources and what they mean to Indigenous communities that utilize them. What we understand with cultural continuity and well-being is that it focuses on information related to traditional practices and ways of knowing and being. It's related to connection to the land that communities have and the culturally important sites and areas and resources that communities want to share with us. It's also related to and includes information on how culture is shared and practiced, not only between certain family groups, but between generations and the experiences around it that they feel that they want to share with our teams. So this is a little bit of a background on our understanding of Aboriginal and/or treaty rights and interests in terms of our environmental assessment process for the Northern Road Link project. What I'm going to speak to you now is about where we're undertaking this work. So we had spoken to earlier about we're looking at where communities assert their rights in the project area. And what I'm going to show you on the slide deck that we have here is our study area. So this is the basis of our or where we're undertaking most of our work. So this is divided into three sections. The section that's outlined in multicolors would be the project area. So that's where the project development area where the project will likely take place. What we're showing you that's in teal is the local study area. So these would be where the effects of the project are localized, and where what we're understanding is where we are going to gather specific information that can be used to help design the project by avoiding and mitigating effects to sensitive features such as sacred areas. What we have in yellow there, or orangish yellow, is the regional study area, which allows us to gather information at a larger scale. To better understand potential indirect effects on the valued components. So for us, the valued components are Indigenous use of land and resources and cultural continuity and well-being, and addressing them in terms of specific communities and how they may potentially be impacted. So this information and these maps, as you can see here in these images, were shared with communities earlier in the process. So I think about last year or the year before last, they were shared, a preliminary version was shared with the communities. We asked for feedback. The feedback we sought was provided to us, and we were very grateful for that. And based on that feedback, we were able to realign and confirm some of our approach for our local study area and our regional study areas. And this was finalized. The approach was finalized last year, and we are now chatting with communities about how we're undertaking our assessment. So where we're at right now in our process is that we're writing those baseline conditions. If you don't mind moving back to slide 4, I'd really appreciate it. So what we have here shows that together you're looking at Indigenous knowledge that's been provided by communities, as well as, so we have information that is, that's being provided, that's existing knowledge base that communities want to share. So that means existing Indigenous knowledge or Indigenous land and resource use information that communities want to share, plus what's available to us publicly that we're looking at to inform this process for setting the baseline conditions. And we're also through our, and we spoke about this in the previous 2 live streams and previous 2 events, we're using the Indigenous Knowledge Program essentially to ask communities to provide us with project-specific information that they'd like to share. So these are project-specific Indigenous knowledge studies. Plus, what we also, and we discussed this previously as well, is that we also have communities that provide field guides that go in with the field programs to kind of guide them and guide them in the way that suits these communities best. And those all that knowledge base is what we utilize when we're setting the baseline conditions for Aboriginal and/or tree rights and interest assessment work that we're doing. And just to kind of reiterate that we set this stage twice. So we set it once for the valid component of Indigenous use of lands and resources, and then we set the stage again for cultural continuity and well-being, because they're different valid components, they have different indicators within them, and we use that criteria to address the baseline conditions that we're setting for this. I also wanted to let you know that, I mean, this is a process that we're going through, and we're working through this process at the moment. Right now, where we're at is setting that baseline condition. So we're asking for communities, if they're willing, to share information that they think would help us provide a fulsome picture of rights and interests in this area, within our project area, and will also help support once we pass the baseline condition stage, where we're doing the effects assessment as well. So this is just a little bit of my little presentation that I wanted to go through to give you a taste of what we're doing and where we're at in the process. So thank you, Jen.
All right, Chimigwech, Michelle. That's actually quite a bit of information. But as usual, I'm going to take a page out of your book, Michelle, because I have questions.
I appreciate that, as always.
Every time we have meetings, Michelle always has a ton of questions, and so I like to tease her about all of her questions. So now, Chris, it's our turn to ask questions, and I'll ask Michelle the first question. And if you have any, I'm sure you do, you can ask her after she answers my question. So first, Michelle, how are we working with communities to understand their asserted rights and interests?
That's a really good question. So what we've been trying to do is work with communities through the Indigenous Knowledge Program. So the idea is that communities would set the stage for us. Like, we provide them these are our study areas. This is what we're working with, and they set the stage for us and to develop our understanding of their Aboriginal and or tree rights and interests. So we're doing it primarily through the Indigenous Knowledge Program, but we also are happy to receive information from the Consultation and Engagement Program. So that's the program which does outreach through open houses, through other forums and events that are being organized. So when we get information from communities, we add that into our baseline conditions. But please keep in mind, this is based on information that the communities have vetted and are willing to share. So it's information that communities have validated as well. So we don't we recognize that the communities have to take a critical lens to what information's out there on them already that they might have shared publicly previously, and we aim to make sure that the information that we put into our baseline conditions acknowledges that aspect of it.
Very good. Chris, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Um, when considering rights and interests throughout the project, how do we incorporate that into the design and the implementation of the road?
So when we are putting together, so when we're setting our baseline conditions, some of the communities through traditional land use studies they've undertaken, or through different communications that we've had with them, have identified for us like where there already are impacts that they've seen to their rights and interests, and also some of the communities, when they provide us information that we can put into our baseline condition setting, also identify like the pathway of effects that we need to consider for them. So we utilize that information as well as our own best practices and our own professional judgment, as well as the fact that there's been previous, studies done, or previous environmental assessments done in the area that the communities have participated in, to kind of paint that bigger picture of our understanding of how their rights and interests need to be addressed and considered as part of the project. We also, what we do is based on information communities have provided. So, when we've had face-to-face or sit-downs with communities, they've talked to us about ideas on project design, ideas on mitigation measures and accommodations. So we take all of that in as well. And we address them through various ways. And I think previously, even when we were putting the terms of reference together, and when the tailored impact assessment guidelines came out, impact statement guidelines came out, we looked at the comments that communities have made and considered that as part of our various phases that we're doing for the environmental assessment.
Boy, yeah, that's a lot
So I have
considering.
a follow-up question there. I have a follow-up. So
I
that's
have one
into
too.
that's into the design, right, of the road. But how do you address the concerns about the road itself and the use of the road, as far as incorporating that into the baseline?
That's a really good question. Right now, those discussions are ongoing. So we like those concerns about how the road will be used and what that will be, well, are not necessarily part of the setting of the baseline. It's more so about the effects assessment. So those discussions are ongoing with communities, and the communities are participating in various different ways. There's also the alternatives assessment that's ongoing, and so there's various ways that the communities can participate and share that information, and we're always happy to receive it and to consider it in our environmental assessment. But specific to how the road will be used, that's something that we will be working towards as we get done with the baseline conditions and get into the effects assessment.
Okay, I want to back up a
Thank you.
little bit,
Thank you. That was
Michelle.
a great answer.
I would like to back up a bit. I heard you mention our own best practices. What is that?
That's a very good
What does
question.
it mean? What does it mean?
So a lot of the guidance that we take on best practices come from the collective experience of all the different disciplines, all the different people who are working on all the different value components for this environmental assessment process. Uh, the whole team has experience in working in different environmental assessments as well, working with different communities as well. So we use our kind of collective knowledge or collective understanding to ensure that when we're undertaking this work, we are employing best practices in the work. So the best practices mean things that we've learned. So my favorite term is lessons learned. I think of best practices as lessons that we've learned in other projects and how we're applying them here for this work. So that to me is best practices. Also, the reality is that we're working in a space that is led by our communities. So they are giving sharing their guiding principles with us, and those guiding principles are part of our best practices as well, because we're working through that lens on how we undertake this environmental assessment.
Right, from Martin Falls and Webequie First Nation. Chris, do you have any more questions?
I do not have any further questions for now.
Okay, well, I have another one. So, where exactly are we at in this process, Michelle, and what are we working on?
So, a little bit I spoke to about how we're writing the baseline conditions. So, what we're doing right now is effectively we're doing outreach. So, we're doing outreach with communities. We're doing outreach with communities in various ways. So, I mentioned the Indigenous Knowledge Program plus our consultation and engagement program. We were using both of those programs to do outreach with communities, and either get invited to their table, or if they're willing to share our table with them, and have them share information that they wish for us to consider in our environmental assessment. I know as early as this month, there's an event going on where communities are likely going to be attending and speaking to our project team on the Northern Road Link, and we're hoping to continue to do outreach with the communities flowing into the fall, on how we're proceeding with or setting that baseline conditions or baseline information. So you could say short answer is we're data collecting. So we're collecting information that communities are willing to share with us, and we're putting that image together of what this project area looks like right now. That's what we're working on. What we are hoping to do is that by the end of the year, be done with that work, and move on to the effects assessment process starting next year.
So, after we do some of that work, Michelle, are we going to go through some validation exercises and go back to the communities and say, here's what we've captured according to your feedback? Now, is this accurate, and are these the things you want included in this report?
Yes, absolutely. So not only, and thank you for that question. I should have that is a follow up question to the one I answered, and I should have expanded a little bit more. Is what we're doing is based on the information that communities are willing to share with us, we create these what we're calling our preliminary baseline conditions reports, and we will be sending those back to the communities to verify and validate how we've considered that information. So that is so we have lots of I would say the kind of gut check sections, or gut check points within our timeline, where we go back to the communities and validate how we've considered that information, and to make sure that we are on the track that they would like to see with our environmental assessment process. This is just for baseline condition setting. When we get further along into effects assessment, there's other I would say gut checks that we do, but we're working through right now baseline, so we're more comfortable with kind of identifying the process here. We're also acknowledging that some of the communities will provide us information that will go beyond setting the baseline conditions, and that information is also something we're very happy to receive and discuss with communities at this stage as well.
All right, Chimigwech, Chris, do you have anything else? I have no more questions at this time.
Well, I think maybe some of the audience might be curious as to how many communities in total that we're actually talking to throughout this process.
That's a really good question. The list that's been identified for us for consultation engagement is about 22 communities. And we also have some tribal councils that outreach is continuing with. And there are communities, and I think a lot of them are listed in that map that I showed, which is on slide 6 of this presentation. That there are quite a few communities that we're doing outreach with at this time. But as far as I remember, I think it was a list of about 22 communities, and they're also, these communities are also chatting not just with us but with the regulators as well. So those conversations are, when they're shared with us, we're aware of them as well. So
Thank you.
All right, Chimigwech, and I think that wraps it up. It was a pleasure having you here today, Michelle. And Chris, as usual, I know we're going to have another session later on today and looking forward to that. So that wraps up today's talk about Aboriginal treaty rights and interests. We hope it was helpful and that it encourages you to join us again. Don't forget to keep in touch with our project team members on the information on our website at northernroadlink.ca. Chimigwech, and make sure to look out for project updates on social media as well as our website. Bamapi.